All right, thank you. Just so the committee knows, I have my vice mayor, my daughter, with me. So if you hear her, she's her dad is a National Guard officer serving the state today. So dual working parents' life in a global pandemic. But I'm very thankful this meeting is remote, and I think thank you for that. So with that, good morning, Chair Lieber, Vice Chair Finley, and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Lacy Beaty, the mayor of the city of Beaverton. Thank you for the opportunity to share Beaverton's strong support for legislation to allow municipalities the option to adopt the REACH code as the minimum construction standard within our jurisdiction. The Beaverton City Council included the REACH code as a key priority in its legislative agenda for the 2022 session. Oregon REACH code has been in statute for decades and requires energy standard above and beyond the statewide base building code. However, it is currently optional for builders who choose whether to use it on a project-by-project basis. This legislation will be introduced in the 2020 session and will do three key things for us. First, it will create a more certainty by requiring that the REACH code be at least 10% more energy efficient than the base code. Second, it increases the rigor for adopting the REACH code by requiring the same process as that for adopting the base code, including requiring reviews and approval by building code division advisory boards. This responds to the concerns raised in 2021. And last, it will create more opportunity at the local level to increase energy efficiency by allowing municipalities like Beaverton the option to adopt the REACH code as their minimum construction standard within our jurisdiction. Climate change left its mark on Oregon in 2021. A February ice storm caused the biggest power outage in state history. Many fire districts saw the earliest and longest fire season on record, and an unprecedented heat dome shattered temperatures records and killed hundreds of people in the Pacific Northwest. This crisis showed us the need to prepare our communities, particularly the most vulnerable, for what is to come. In 2019, the City Council adopted the Beaverton Climate Action Plan, a framework to reduce our community's greenhouse gas emission and protect our residents from the effects of climate change. The goal of Beaverton's Climate Action Plan was to develop using extensive community engagement process, including 100% reduction in a community-wide emission by 2050 and a carbon neutral city operations by 2030. It would put climate equity at the forefront by recognizing the impacts of climate change fall disproportionately on low-income community populations and members of our BIPOC community, ensuring that any action taken to address climate change reduces the disparities and benefits for every person who calls Beaverton home. The Beaverton Climate Action Plan specifically calls for the local adoption of a more efficient REACH code as a key action to mitigate the impacts of climate change. Energy consumed in buildings produce around 1/3 of the U.S. greenhouse gas emission, falling only behind the transportation sector as the largest source of emissions. Our climate goals can't be reached without addressing the building sector's role in generating emission, reducing energy use, and improving the efficiency of our building stock. The REACH code gives cities the option to adopt local building codes that reach beyond the state's minimum requirement for energy use in design and construction, creating opportunities for local government to lead the way on clean air and climate solution, while creating roadmaps for other governments to act as well. Adoption of the REACH code will only reduce the energy burden felt more and more frequently by household. Nationally, the lowest income households spend 3 times more of their income on energy costs compared to non-low income households. Here in Washington County, where Beaverton is, 16% of households face an energy burden in 2020, meaning they spend more than 6% of their income on energy. All residents, not just those who can afford to follow an optional code or a third-party standard, are entitled to efficient, well-insulated housing they can afford to keep heat and cool. Ensuring that buildings are constructed to standards that allow for efficient use of energy is a critical first meaningful step. There's no single solution for the issues we face when it comes to climate change. Municipalities like mine recognize the outsized impact of building energy use on emissions and climate and our constituents' pocketbooks. We need this as an option in our tool bag, which is why we welcome the option to enact the REACH code as our minimum construction standard. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. I'm here to answer any questions.